especially in the West, forever. We're going to talk all about that, but first, I want to talk about all the good comings and goings on bluefinbrands.com. As you can see, I got the Ava metal build right here. We have a limited amount of quantity on our website right now. It's $285 for this incredible metal build. It is articulated. The paint is just incredible. Comes with just a slew of accessories, and it will be the centerpiece of every Evangelion collection. You will not want to miss out on this. So bluefinbrands.com has all of our specials for the manga anime digital event made. We got a lot of bundles. We got another great Dragon Ball bundle. It's got Bulma and the Dragon Radar. You push the button and it makes all these fun sounds and lights and stuff. You can play a game where you collect all. Oh, Sean's got it right there.
You can crazy in my hand.
All 7 Dragon Balls, and then you can summon the mighty Shenron, and you can make a wish. And if you're some of the people on the panel, it would be to change things in Akira, but we'll definitely get to that. While you're on bluefinbrands.com, make sure to go visit our contest page, bluefinbrands.com/contest, where you can enter to win a full set of Gundam Universe. That's 11 Gundam Universe figures from waves 1 through 4. All you got to do is click on a couple buttons and put in a little bit of information, and you're good to go. We're going to be doing the drawing for the grand prize after the holiday, so first week of December. So enter now, enter often, and many will enter, few will win, as they used to say for all those fun competitions. But enough of that. Let's talk who we got here. We'll go top to bottom. Justin, how are you? And have you seen Akira before preparing for this episode?
Yes, I have seen Akira. It was one of the first couple of animes that I ever watched as a teenager. And then I rewatched it because it's been almost 32 years since I've seen it.
That was going to follow up. How long has it been in between viewings?
Yeah, exactly. So somewhere circa, I'd say 1995. So it's been about 25 years since I've seen it.
All right. AJ, how are you doing today? And how long the gap was in between your Akira viewings?
I'm doing great. I watched it originally early 2000 for the first time. That movie is as old as I am, so it's interesting enough that this movie has lasted so long and has been such an iconic piece for anime itself. I did not rewatch it at all for this episode. I'm just going to remember what I remember and clips I remember used to study for animation, but that's about it. That's about it.
Nice. And David, this was your first viewing, wasn't it?
I watched it last night for the very first time. It's being from the 80s. The animation really holds up very well, and I can definitely see the influence it had on animation going forward. Plus, I finally now fully appreciate the whole scene of the famous scene with the bike skidding, which is obviously the best part of the movie because it's what you see everywhere. So I thought it was very, very, very nice looking. Very nice.
Did you recreate the skid on your Razor scooter in front of your house after you watched the movie?
Well, I don't have a Razor scooter, but I can't wait to build a model kit of something bike-like so I can recreate that.
There you go.
Nice. What about you, Sean? When was the last time you watched it? And you're more cultured than all of us, and you've actually read the manga.
Yeah, about 5 years ago, I took a deep dive where I rewatched it. I probably saw it when I was in junior high or something like that. And 5 years ago, I rewatched the movie and read all the manga and everything. So that was 5 years ago. So hopefully my knowledge is still good, but my memory might be slipping. It's been about 5 years now. So
how long is the manga?
It's not too long. I can't remember how much I was it's kind of like what AJ was saying yesterday about reading manga and just going next. It was one of those things where in about a week I binged all of the manga, watched the movie, and the content though is it's almost twice as long as the movie. They cut out half of what could happen. So I'm hoping if
it's already a long 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's 2000, isn't it? 80 or something like that.
There's that discussion about a Hollywood remake of it, a live action one. I'm hoping they do a 2-parter because it's what they've done with the animation is they cut out the middle section and then slap on the ending for the real movie or the real manga onto the first half of the manga series. So hopefully there's going to be a 2-parter so they do make a live action one. People aren't complaining that they added half another movie onto it when there's half another movie in there that was never animated in the first place.
Yeah, it's been in development, hell forever at Warner Brothers. They've been trying to make Akira for years now, and every time they think they have a director attached or someone to star, and it just keeps falling apart. And then obviously COVID happened, and that just ruined basically everything. So
hopefully that Leonardo DiCaprio will come back in 20 years. He'll come. He'll be Canada.
Yeah, Canada.
Was that
Isn't it
the
Canada?
goal?
Don't they say Canada? Don't they say Canada?
Canada. I think
Is that
the
what
English stuff. They're like Canada.
Yeah, I think they say Canada.
Remember, he's the more cultured one.
Remember, the English dub is wrong always compared to Japanese.
Did you watch the English dub or the Japanese sub, David?
Come on. I watched it in Japanese the way God intended.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, and I had the option too because I watched it on Hulu. Like I could have easily hit the dub button, but I was like, no, I'm doing this correct.
It's on Hulu.
Mm-hmm. It's on Hulu.
Oh man,
There you go. You can watch it now on Hulu.
I bought it on Vudu so I could watch it. I didn't even think to look on Hulu.
Yeah, Justin bought it on Vudu so I could watch it too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
I think
goodness.
we talked about Link. I think the animation is incredible. I think that it definitely holds up, and it's the reason we got animation in the West. They brought other Japanese properties. Take your Dragon Balls, your Gun Wings, and stuff. But for me, it's probably 25 minutes too long. Like I think the middle really kind of gets muddled, and I don't know if you guys felt that as well, to where like there was just like 19 different plot threads in the middle, and like some of them just didn't go anywhere. We had the government versus the people. We had science versus kind of like religion, quote unquote. We had Kanata looking for his friend. We had two different female and male relationships, and for me, it just kind of was a little slow in the middle. But all in all, I enjoyed it.
And I think they all kind of wanted the same thing in their own little weird way, because the world had already ended, and they're trying to make it better. And you got the general guy who's like, I'm trying to keep this city safe, and then you got the government that's like, no, we need to do this to keep it safe, and then you got the scientist that's like, I got a really good idea to keep it safe.
Mr. Clean, like a bald-headed dude.
Wasn't there like a coup? Like, didn't the military guy just go, yeah, I'm just in charge now?
Because he didn't. He was under the impression that what they were doing was nothing and not enough, and the world was going to end again. So
the governments would never be lackluster like that. That's real unrealistic entirely.
Sure. I know. What's interesting though is having just rewatched it and just seeing all of the sort of the civil unrest, the religious folks that are making a lot of noise, and the government that's torn in different directions and not doing anything. It was really hitting home in a lot of ways.
That first half of the movie, it felt like 2020. I'm like, yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah.
They got the 2020 Olympics going on too, don't they?
Yeah.
In the background, you see like the stadium is from their Olympics that was like destroyed or something.
Much like real 2020, they have it planned for 2020. It's probably not going to actually take
Right.
Well, what's funny is the movie takes place in 2019. That's also the same year that Blade Runner and The Running Man take place. So something about 2019. These sci-fi authors, they were like, enjoy 2019. It's all over in 2020.
Right. Yeah.
They've been telling us for years.
Yeah. Right. Prince was about 20 years too early on the Party Like It's 1999.
Yeah. I think obviously the most iconic thing from Akira is going to be the bike. And I mean, for me, when I was younger, the bike always is what I'm like, oh, that bike looks pretty cool. I wish I could have a bike like that. And, Tamashii Nations recently had their event. They had their Tamashii Nations 2020, and they showed up a concept of, the bike, the Soul Shogun, not Soul Shogun, I'm sorry, the Propnica. This is a concept. This is not something that is an official item yet, so we don't have scale or size yet on it. This is just something that Tamashii wanted to show off to kind of gauge interest and be like, hey, look at this cool thing. We might be able to make this one day. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely make sure to share it all around social media and stuff like that, just so that Tamashii knows that you guys are definitely into something like this. And I would definitely grab this. This is pretty cool. The only thing that would make it cooler is if there was an SH figure art that I could stick in there from the film. But I think that it's an iconic bike. In Ready Player One, it's spoofed all over the place and everything in anime. So Dave, since you had never seen the show or the movie, you were aware of the bike though, right?
Oh yeah. I was aware of the bike. I was aware of like the famous skid, and also like the poster shot of like the bike and him walking away from it or whatever. Like those things, like whether or not you've ever watched Akira, like there's a certain iconic things from Akira that you know just by being an anime fan. Like it's inescapable.
Yeah. And it's in Ready Player One, the greatest movie of all time.
I don't know about all that.
And it's got DRX.
It does have a Gundam. It does have a Gundam in it.
It does.
It's got a Gundam. It's got Akira's bike. It's got Mecha Godzilla.
Overwatch.
It's got those mad ball things that you used to get when you were a kid if you were old like Justin and I.
Oh yeah, with the faces on them and like the tongue all sideways, like a baseball that has like a mutant face on it.
Yeah.
I forgot about those.
Now,
what were they called? Mad balls? Is that what you said?
Mad balls, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because they were mad. They were balls.
Angry.
Protect your angry balls.
How you gonna catch it with a face on it? That complicates things.
Yeah. Now, Sean, you reading you being the cultured one amongst us who's read the manga, is the bike and the biker gangs, is it as important in the manga as it is in the movie? Just because it is an integral part, especially to the beginning of the film.
It's been 5 years, but I remember I think I wanted more bike when I was reading it. I think there's a part where it wasn't in the movie where the bike is like parked someplace and they have to like get it, and that's when like the government comes in and like tries to capture them. But I think something happens to the bike, like in the manga. I think something happens to the bike, if I recall, and like,
oh no,
it kind of made me feel a little bit like, oh, I guess the bike isn't as important as it is in the movie. Like kind of like you feel like you're reading and like you want, like for me when I read the manga, I want more content. I'm looking for that, and like I think one of the things was I want to see them use the bike more. Because in the movie, it's like, okay, so Kaneda has it, then Tetsuo tries to steal it, and eventually at the very final battle, like Kaneda is like basically on his bike with the gun, shooting at Tetsuo and like going like across the rubble and everything. And I think in the manga, it's like at some point in time, the bike gets lost, and you're like, you kind of like as someone who's seen the movie and like you're looking for like more bike, like you want more bike, and like it's not there. I think. At the end of it, they do find the bike again, and it's kind of like they do that whole like kind of running right into the sunset kind of thing, like in the movie. But there's a point where I think it gets less bike, and you're kind of like, where's the bike? I want that. Like, more bike, please.
Should be more bike.
More bike.
More bike is needed.
More bike.
Yeah.
Well, AJ and Sean, you guys both lived in Japan for a spell. How important is Akira in Japan? Is it like the seminal anime like it is out here, or is it just it's just another cool movie we made?
AJ, you want to take that?
Sure. For me, when I was living there, I saw no influence whatsoever. I mean, yeah, I saw it in like like the DVD section or VHS at that time. But at this point, yeah. So like at this point. There wasn't really much to it. Everyone's just like regular daily living, like it was never a thing. So
yeah, I'd say the same
this
thing.
Was like 95?
Well, the movie's from 88. So. Oh, but you were in Japan in 95, right? Yeah. Okay. It's like I went back when I was in high school. I studied abroad in high school, and I remember bringing up like Ghost in the Shell and like Akira and like these kind of mainstay animes back. It was early 2000s when I was there in high school, and so, I guess mid 2000s anyway. But when I brought those up, my friends were kind of like, because it's like late 80s, early 2000s that these films come out, and like there's like so much other content and so many other animes that's like, unless you grew up with it, I don't think it's really like has that lasting appeal. Like in the US, Akira and Ghost in the Shell were basically the de facto, like if you're getting into anime, that was what you were watching. While in Japan, it's kind of like anime's been around since Astro Boy, Black and White Astro Boy, so it's not like the mainstay kind of introduction to anime as like a cinematic medium.
Makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I was just curious.
And I was in Oh, go ahead.
You were in a what? Were you in a biker gang? Tell us you were in a biker gang.
No. I was saying, like, even at that time, like, I was there for, like, it was the birth of, like, Pokemon, so obviously everything took, a seat back for this new franchise. So
now Justin, you had mentioned you had 3 specific parts that you loved from this film. Do you want to go over those 3?
Yeah. So once Tetsuo gets the red cape, it's like my favorite thing ever. When he's just like basking in the ambiance, like I have all this super telekinetic power, and I'm the super villain now, and it's so cool. I love that. I love after his arm gets just ripped off, and Kaneda is on top of the rubble, and he's got this big boulder that he just lifts over his head. He's like, dude, I'm totally gonna get this guy, like straight up like Acme animation style. He's just like, here's an anvil about to crush your head. And then the third thing is when Tetsuo turns into the blob, and this sort of like Polynesian, or not Polynesian, what is it? Like this Indonesian kind of music starts playing, like this tribal music, and it's like just this bass riff where it's like, and it's like so ominous and cool. And after I watched it a couple days ago, it was just in my head, and so I'm just like walking around my house, just like humming this. I'm like doing air bass as I'm doing it. I'm walking to the kitchen. It was pretty great.
Watch those didgeridoo.
right. So those,
we gotta get to that instrument.
I know. I'm just literally, it's so cool because that metamorphosis is happening, you know, and everyone's like, oh my god, what do I do? In the meantime, I'm just like rocking out to this music, like, oh my god, this is the greatest part ever.
That was 2. Yeah. Was it 3?
No. The cape, just seeing him with the cape, the head smash him with the giant rock, and then the twang music.
Oh, okay.
I was going to mention the music in Akira is it's almost like a tribal kind of thing. Like the bike race at the very beginning has like a lot of drum beats, and it's very like they use almost like people's voices for like melodies and everything. Like you have like there's a lot of like it's kind of going on, and even when there's a scene with the children when they turn into the rabbit and like all the stuffed animals, it's like it's almost like an ominous kind of like echoey voice of someone saying something, but it's like it's the music, like what you're saying with the didgeridoos. It was like the didgeridoo sound, and I think there's probably some kind of vocal element to it, but it's like using voice as the instrument.
Yeah, it's really rad. I was digging it.
What about you, AJ?
Where can I get this? This is going to be my white noise music as I go to sleep.
I was going to say, like, that bear and, like, bunny scene is so haunting. Like, I think the first time I saw it, as soon as I got to that scene, I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I don't want to remember this scene whatsoever, but even though I haven't rewatched that, like, that scene has stuck with me. And they're like, and it's like, he gets flooded with, like, milk. Well, it was milk, right? And then
it was milk.
He, like, trips over the bottle, and then, like, blood starts, And then the kids were like, "Oh, blood!" I'm like, "Oh, blood!" Like, no, you guys are scary.
It's like a fever dream, basically.
Yeah, like you guys are the terrifying ones, not this blood.
Yeah,
something about kid voices that just creep things out a little bit.
Yeah, this was one of the first, animes to come from the East over here. And I think it would have been easy for everyone in the West to be like, "Oh, it's a cartoon. I can take my kids to see it." And then, like 3 seconds in, you got murder, and someone tears the top off a lady and punches her in the face. Yeah, and everybody bleeds everywhere.
Like she had it like the roughest because like nothing got better for her, like at all.
And then Tetsuo's like, "Don't touch my bike." It's like, whoa! Your girlfriend just got punched in the face. She's about to be like assaulted, and you're worried about your bike.
I mean, he killed her later on.
Priorities.
Yeah.
It's not my bike. It's a loner.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool to see the far-reaching, inspiration that it gave to other properties. Final Fantasy VII could be seen as a total love letter to Akira. We have the bike scene. We have, Genova and Akira could be the same thing. We see all the way even to like the plaque at the base of it and stuff like that. So it's really cool to see how it influenced modern culture. So David, was there, we heard Justin's favorite part. What are some of the things you loved about Akira?
There's 2 parts that really stuck out. When he recreated his arm out of like the metal scrap, like I watched it a few times just because it was animated really, really well. Like it's weird. It's a small thing, but it just looked really, really cool. How he just like, I just made a new arm. Like, I'm God. I'm awesome. So I thought that was cool. But I also like when Like he was getting arrogant after the Kanada's laser beam man energy, and he was like, "Boom, nothing can touch me." And then and then the military was like, "Psych," and they hit it with like the giant laser. I was like, "Yeah, you need to be better at being God." But no, I like those two moments, and they haven't very close to each other, but it was a really good scene. And that, of course, anytime he stopped a tank shell, that's something you gotta appreciate the ability to stop tank shells like that. So, but yeah, those parts are my favorite though.
Didn't even break a sweat.
Yeah.
And if he did, he could wipe it off with his cape.
Yeah.
Justin loves cape. It's good cape weather, Justin. It's good cape weather in Japan.
Yeah, so if there was an SH, you would want to make sure it came with a cape.
Yeah, cloth cape.
Cape must be included.
Yeah. And then when your baby Yoda behind you throws up, you can use your cape to wipe off his face.
There you go.
I actually watched that immediately after watching Akira last night.
Who's the lady in The Incredibles that's like no capes?
Oh, the suit designer? Yeah.
Yeah,
Edna, right?
Yeah.
Voiced by Brad Bird, the director of The Incredibles.
There you go. Yeah. It's like they're talking to me in that scene. I'm like, I don't know, capes are pretty cool.
Now, Sean, in the manga, aside from obviously expanding upon, things that aren't covered in the anime, is there anything that's drastically different than what was presented?
Well, I guess there's Akira. He's actually in it. So when Tetsuo opens up the chamber and everything, which happens like at the end of the movie, and there's just like he finds out that they dissected him and there's all these parts. The second arc basically is he basically opens up to Akira and it causes like an explosion or something, but it's not like world ending like the very end of Akira when it happens, but he basically unleashes Akira and like that's where you've seen like there's like iconic imagery of Akira sitting on that kind of made they almost make him like a throne of sorts. That's actually from the manga where he was alive and one of his first commands that he tells Tetsuo to do is destroy the moon. And so you see Tetsuo just leap up into the sky and like go straight to the moon, almost like a One Punch Man, like single punch to the moon, and he like makes a hole in the moon.
What does Japan have against the moon? All these animes are destroying the moon. Dragon Ball destroys the moon. Akira's destroying the moon.
It's so everyone can see.
There.
It's showmanship. Yeah, it's like they want to be able to see. Yeah.
It's challenging them.
How can we make the whole world see this at once? This will be great, or at least half the world at once.
But now it's dark at night. You don't get full moons.
Waves are compromised.
Your waves are all messed up, man.
But if I can mention, my favorite scene in the animation is the discipline scene. When you see like they get captured, or basically like the school does something, and you see Kanada's ID, and it's like it's like a punk looking ID, and then he pulls it down, and then there's Kanada like all like got his hair combed over, and he's all smiling.
Yeah.
And then the head teacher comes, and he's like, discipline, 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 and just knocks him in the head.
Yeah.
Favorite scene.
And the police were like, and we notified your principal, so good luck with that at school tomorrow.
I mean, in that world, does like
2019
and authority matter anymore? I mean, everything seems terrible.
Gotta get out of Dodge.
2019, right?
I think they're at like a vocational school or something. I don't remember though.
Something like that.
Like the University of Phoenix?
Yeah, something like that. Because I think everyone needs to kind of do their part, like to make this Neo Tokyo better, I guess. I don't know. That was my interpretation.
Do they show how the rest of the world is doing in the manga?
No.
Yeah, there's like the second part has a big involvement from the U.S. Like the U.S. obviously government and military and everything. So like what David was mentioning about the different factions, how it's like religious factions, governments. Like in the second part, it's like America kind of steps in and says like they've basically unleashed Akira, so we gotta like it kind of cuts back all the time to like all these American ships like waiting in like off the coast of Japan, like kind of seeing what they're doing, and you have I think it's like the coup guy, the military guy from the Japan side is like trying to. I think he's working. It's been 5 years, so I can't really recall exactly what it was, but he's like trying to
Colonel
work
Shikishima is his name.
Yeah, so he's trying to work with like the CIA or something on like inside the Japan, basically, because Japan almost like sealed itself off to be like the followers of Akira, the lady who I guess in the US when they dubbed her as a man or something, like she's a different gender in that case, but it's like she has her own religious thing that Kei, the girl who Kaneda was trying to get with, she has some kind of power. She's being controlled like how it is in the movie. She has some kind of power, and so she is doing something with that religious faction, and so it's like all these different factions. I think there's 3 different ones trying to stop Akira or do something with what's going on in Japan.
Nice. Yeah, interesting. Always good to see USA get in the mix.
Yeah.
Angry artist asked the question: so, will you ever have the Ava 2 metal build 2000 for? Unfortunately, that was a premium Bandai exclusive that was available over the summer. I think it was up for a couple months, and it's not something that we will be selling on our site. It was a Bandai exclusive. So. And then a lot of people asking for different SHS from Akira, so there's definitely a thirst for it. So who knows? It could happen.
It could.
We're still hoping for that Eva Zero though. Eva Zero metal build.
Yeah, hopefully we there's a lot of 1 and 2s. We need there's their predecessor, Miss Ayanami's.
Yeah, comes with the figure that just lays there and does nothing.
But do we get the orange version or the blue version?
I'm
partial to orange. But
yeah, me too. I like orange.
I hope on the wall they can like smash his head.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Back to Akira. It's interesting that the director of the film is actually the creator of the manga, and the film was done before the manga was, and so I wonder if that's the reason some of this center seems kind of muddled because he was still at the time figuring it out, or I wonder if it was just a byproduct of trying to put this huge tome of a manga into film. So I imagine that would be difficult.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do. I mean, it's already 2 hours. That's a big ask for an animated feature film. So, I mean, versus
especially like 1988.
Versus like a long format today. Like something like this could really benefit from like a Netflix model with 20-something episodes to really get the story out.
Were you surprised by the length, David? Did you pop up and you're like 2 hours?
So I didn't check the length before I started watching. And then when I was about an hour in, I'm like, look, it's getting close to midnight. How much time is left? And I click on, I'm like, 2 hours. Good Lord. So like, I paused. I went and got a snack. I took a break for a little bit, came back. It was a little longer than I thought it was going to be.
Like, I'm not worried. They got to start wrapping things up.
When they rode out into the sunset, you're like,
it's like
yes,
one of those movie
finally.
intermissions. There you go.
It felt like the movie had become a different movie by the time I got to the end. Like it was like several movies at once. It was weird.
There's a lot going on, man. I mean, especially since he escapes like an hour into it, and you're like, oh, okay, and then nope, going back. Get over here, and then he's back in the hospital. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, my goal was to rewatch it last night, and so I like 1 o'clock or something. I'll just pop it in, and I'm like, oh, I forgot how long this is, and then 20 minutes later, I was asleep. I was like, dang it.
It's all that awesome music that's wooing you to sleep.
It was very melodic.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's awesome. Airbase it.
I don't think you need a didgeridoo. You do that sound pretty good, Justin. You are a didgeridoo.
There you go.
You used to be a box.
I guess we're not buying him a didgeridoo at this point.
All right, let's all pitch in.
All right, now we're talking. I can perform a recital at our next Chore, and it'll be amazing.
Well, AJ, what are some of your takeaways from Akira? What are some of the things that have just kind of stuck with you? Whether it be visual or didgeridoo. I know for me, I'm never gonna not hear Justin doing the didgeridoo if I'm watching it.
New ringtone.
I think studying like animation, that was definitely one of the bigger influences is looking back at it. And even now, like as David mentioned, like that whole transformation scene, it's still well done, especially for its time. I think every time I've always looked at clips when doing some study for animation, it's always been, well, let's see how they did it, because again, ahead of time, it was pretty smooth, and I learned a lot just from how it looked itself. Like the color aspect of what they chose, like it really felt grim, Like we've always had movies where bright future, so we use bright colors, but Akira was just slap on these darker tones and definitely like let it do its thing. So artistically, it is visually pleasing to me.
Nice. What about you, Sean? Is there any real deep takeaways? Even it could be from the manga if that's has bigger, more themes that are something you're into. Anything that just kind of sticks with you?
I don't know. I like kind of how everyone's been mentioning about the music. Like that's my thing. Like whenever I think of the scene, it's not really the animation for me. I remember the sound effects, like the thing with the kids when they with the milk and everything. It's like you kind of hear this. You have that creepy sound in your head with like Justin when he's talking about the didgeridoos and everything, and then like the intro. Like the race is awesome, but I keep hearing like when the main guy, the main like gang leader shows up. There's this big like sha kind of thing when he shows up, and it's like just the sound effects to me are kind of what I keep hearing. Like you could show me an image from Akira and I'll be like, oh yeah, that has that sound in it.
Yeah,
wow,
I dig
the
with the bikes when they go and you kind of have like the trail of lights behind them a little bit. Not all the way Tron, but Tron-esque. I think that's
the slow shutter speed.
Yeah. Now we're talking. So we talked about what we love. We talked about how do we say Canada, all of that stuff. We showed off the bike. That hopefully we'll get its concept that was shown off at Tomash Nations 2020. What other figures or replicas or anything model kits? What would you like to see made? So Clark, I know love model kits. What would you? Is there any collectibles or toys or replicas you'd want to see made from Akira that have not been made yet?
I want a master grade of Tetsuo as a giant baby. I think that lends itself to so many creative kit matches. I think that would be hilarious. But no, yeah, I think obviously I think the bike. I'd want a master grade bike. With like all the internals and then maybe even some clear parts, for the outer shell so you can admire the inside. I think that would be pretty cool.
Would you rather have a model kit that you put together or something like this, like the property?
I'm always going to say model kit.
At least you're consistent in your correctness. I'm just kidding. AJ, what about you? Is there something that you would love to see brought to Bluefin from Akira?
Well, outside of the bike that we're showcasing like right now on screen, like I'm a big fan of like figures. So a figure with it would be cool. I guess in this case too, I delve in a little bit of the hobby kit, so it would be nice to get a hobby kit or two. I don't know about the baby one, but it would be interesting. Can't really think of anything else outside of that, considering the bike itself is already iconic, and I was already pleased with just seeing it during Tomashi Nation 2020. So
now I know we all talked about the bike. Do you think that the other bike designs are underwhelming because this bike is so cool, AJ?
I mean, it's a red bike, and red is a good color.
It's got a decal. It's got sponsors. He's sponsored by Canon.
Like 2019 after World War III, and you're still sponsored by Canon and stuff. Like that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It would be cool to have the other bikes. I mean, it'd be an interesting take to just have all the bikes lined up, and then put like an action figure like kicking it, and then all the bikes tip over. That'd be a good picture.
Like Pee-wee from Pee-wee's Big Adventure, like that. He knocks over all the bikes. I want to say that's our second Pee-wee joke in this week.
I know, it's crazy.
We're now a Pee-wee's Big Adventure show, guys. Large Mark sent me. Oh, it was Francis's bathtub we were talking about. That's
what it was. Yeah.
There you go.
Driving me nuts. What about you, Justin? Is there anything you'd love to see brought into the action figure or Proplica worlds?
Sure. I mean, I think the SH figure arts would be amazing if I had a Tetsuo with his red cape, with arm, with no arm, with trash arm. I would think that'd be pretty rad. Scared face, angry face, happy face for 5 seconds of the movie. I would totally jump all over that.
Nice. What about you, Sean? Is there something that you would just love to put on your shelf from Akira?
I kind of want like the hospital bed, like when Tetsuo was getting the body scan. He's got that like crazy hospital bed. I know it's like a big scene in the Kanye West like.
That's a weird pull,
video.
Sean.
We have the Blitzway Astro Boy
Sure.
bed coming up too.
Repurpose
So
it,
why not the one from Akira? Put your SH figure art. You can put any kind of figure on it and then move it around. Have them
That would
scan
be
it. Why not?
a really good model kit, actually, because I could use those parts for so many things.
I like
that
Darth Vader on there. Recreate Revenge of the Sith. Where he's turned into Darth Vader.
He needs to have his hands up like this though, so he's like.
You're gonna be a bunch of Sids from Toy Story, and you're Frankenstein and all your collectibles, and it's bad news bears.
Yeah, I see David with one of those.
Akira.
Yeah, the little visor where you can like see like the magnifying glass.
Like 18 different lenses and just keep going down.
I do have one of those. I do.
Oh my goodness!
So you put some poor toy like a Barbie or something on there, and you're like
hack slash glue
blowtorch.
Yeah. It's like
wow.
Yeah, that's edgy.
All right, Justin. Final thoughts on Akira?
Cool. It definitely left an impression on me as a young teenager. I thought, oh my god, cartoons can have violence and nudity. This is nuts. And I had never seen that before in an animated movie, and so that was new to me. And it was definitely heavy. There's a lot of violence, a lot of civil unrest, and just craziness. And when I watched it at the time, I remember thinking, wow, that is a nuts sort of place to be living in. And then fast forward to today, and it's Friday, and you go outside and it's the same thing. So it is a little bit bizarre that a good science fiction is a social commentary. It's art reflecting the times, and in this case, we don't have like a singularity going off in the middle of Tokyo or anything like that, but we have our own sort of dangers and self-destructions, and it's pretty nuts how close these sci-fi movies are hitting the nail on the head.
Absolutely. But you, AJ, what's your big takeaway?
I mean, if you haven't seen it, you should just watch it regardless for what the movie brings. I know, David just watched it, so props to you for finally jumping in and being able to say, hey, I've been able to watch Akira. I think, again, Justin said everything so well. And I think watching the movie, even though it's only like 2 hours, like you kind of want to just sit and watch it just because it is something to watch. It is a piece of history itself in terms of animation.
Nice. Clark, what's your final thoughts on Akira?
I mean, so far it's pretty much called, 2020 pretty correctly. So I'm just waiting for the singularity to happen. And if anyone's going to get powers, I volunteer as tribute. So hopefully, hopefully you'll see me out there with the red cape, just going.
You're like, do these powers come in model form so I can build them all around me?
I would force the world to become a giant molecule. This is what I would.
You would kill all your followers.
People, I'm gonna kit bash.
Yeah.
I mean, it is laid out there for you, David. You gotta go steal your friend's motorcycle and then lose in a motorcycle fight.
Okay, I can do that.
And then, unfortunately, bad things got to happen to your girlfriend. And
yeah, unfortunately.
You get powers.
All right, I'll be right back.
And he was never heard from again.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
He's on the news.
Yeah.
Some crazy guys just throwing motorcycles on the freeway.
Right.
Just throwing
the red
cape.
With the red cape. As long as you have a cape, Justin will support.
Yeah.
But yeah, we still have time for 2020 to get to that level of crazy. So there's still time. But yeah, it's very accurate.
Do I want that though?
No, we definitely don't want that. What about you, Sean? What are your final thoughts on Akira?
I'd say if you've seen the movie and you want more Akira, then read the manga. I can't make promises about the bike being more involved in it, but if you've ever wondered about like why there's a pill on Kanada's jacket, why there's a pill on the back of it's pretty iconic. It goes a lot more into what's with these pills in their society. So yeah, if you want more info on that, check out the manga. But if you haven't seen or read it, then I'd say watch the movie, then read the manga.
Nice. Okay. Well, cool, man. That's kind of our deep dive into Akira.
1 week gone.
Yeah. I hope you guys have really enjoyed these live streams we've been doing. I really appreciate all the guests that have come and joined us. We have one more live stream at 3 o'clock today. It's going to be with the president of G-Kids, and we'll be talking all about Studio Ghibli stuff. And I don't think we'll all be on this, so I just want to say thank you to you guys. Aya's not here. Really appreciate Aya taking time out of her busy day to come play with us. David and Sean being the brand managers within Bluefin Brands, a huge help. A lot of thanks to you guys. You guys did great. And as always, Justin, AJ, you guys interact with them every single day on social media. They're our community managers. They're the ones who take care of you, answer your questions, and make sure that you're taken care of. So just remember, if you're mean to somebody on social media, it might be one of those two, and they're just too nice. So don't. Picture those faces. Give them a smile, boys. Let's see ya. Look at that. You don't want to make them mad. So, and then we have extended our maid sale through the weekend, so it's actually going to go through Sunday now. So if you go to bluefinbrands.com just bluefinbrands.com, you'll see all of our promotions or deals. We have a number of bundles. We have some Ghibli promotions that I'm sure we'll talk about at 3 o'clock as well. The buy two get one free. For towels and for puzzles for Studio Ghibli, 20% off of plush. You can see all of the cool bundles and promotions and stuff like that. Right there's the contest. You click on that button, or you go to bluefinbrands.com/contest. You can enter to win all 11 Gundam Universe figures. Someone's got to win, might as well be you. So just go ahead and enter. Tell your friends, make them enter, and tell them, hey, it's a finder's fee. If you win, you got to give me 3 of those bad boys. So bluefinbrands.com. Or all of them, yeah. You don't want those. You just enter because I told you to. And it is super super duper easy. Like I said, many will enter, one will win, but might as well be you. So
it's like Thunderdome.
And then some of our social accounts are also giving away individual items. At Bluefin Brands and at Tamashii Nations on Twitter are giving away Gundam Universe figures piecemeal. So I think that right now they're giving away the Strike Gundam and who's Bluefin Brands giving away right now?
It was I already forgot. Oh, Barbados. It was
Barbados. All right, yeah. So it's real simple. You go to @Bluefin Brands or @Tamashii Nations on Twitter. There's the instructions right there. Usually it's make sure you're following us, so that way we can communicate with you. If you're not following us, we can't message you to tell you that we won. And like and retweet the post. And usually it's tell us something fun about something. This text is too far away from you to read. So
it says, if you were piloting this mobile suit, which song would you have on blast to let everyone know that you were coming? Ooh, we got some really good responses.
It'd be hard because you probably can't fit the didgeridoo into the cockpit. So you have to
I just come rolling and I just hear.
Your weapon is the didgeridoo.
Yeah.
It's so much worse.
Totally. No, but my Gundam would be rocking out to Depeche Mode, and the whole world would love it.
Nah, bro. Amazing. Slayer, Raining Blood. That's how you know I'm coming.
Like the grabbing hands, grab all they can. Oh, that's great.
We're not even mad we're dead.
Right.
But yeah, thanks everyone. Make sure to come back at 3 o'clock for our Studio Ghibli chat with the president of G-Kids. And until we see you next time, have a good day, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you so much.
Hey,
you are the best.